This is Voice of the Dreamer, where broken dreams come back to life, where belief is louder than doubt, and where your next breakthrough starts now. If you're tired of waiting, tired of shrinking, and ready to rise, you're in the right place. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about something that lives inside all of us, something that pushes us forward, and something that can hold us back. That something is emotion. The topic is the emotional believer. Now, when we talk about belief, we often think of logic, of faith, of strategy. But I want you to understand today that belief, real belief, is deeply emotional. It's tied to how we see ourselves, how we see the world, and what we feel when we look in the mirror. The emotional believer is someone who doesn't just think about success. They feel it. They taste it. They cry about it. They get up every morning with tears still in their eyes and dreams still in their hearts. That's power. You see, emotion isn't weakness. Emotion is fuel. The emotional believer is the one who keeps going when the odds say quit. They are the ones who cry after a failure, but get back up and fight like they never lost. They're not led by circumstance. They're led by conviction. I remember times in my life when logic said stop, when the bank account said broke, when people said I wasn't good enough. But my heart said otherwise. My emotions weren't in my way. They were my reason. They were my why. And when your why is strong enough, your how will show up. Some people are scared to be emotional. They've been taught to bottle it up, to toughen up, to be stone cold. But listen to me. Stone doesn't grow. It doesn't move. It doesn't evolve. But emotion? Emotion is life. It moves you. It shakes you. It wakes you up in the middle of the night and tells you to get back to work. The emotional believer doesn't need perfect conditions. They just need a reason. They need that spark, that fire in their gut that says, "This dream is mine, and I'm not letting go." So many people give up not because they can't do it, but because they've numbed themselves. They've turned off the emotions. They've told themselves it's better not to feel too much, to not get too attached, to not get their hopes up. But I'm telling you today, get your hopes up. Let yourself feel again. Let yourself believe like a child. A child doesn't need to know how it will happen. They just believe it will. That's the spirit of the emotional believer. It's not naive, it's powerful. I've seen people who had every resource, every advantage, every opportunity, and they still failed. Why? Because they didn't feel it. They didn't burn for it. But I've also seen people with nothing, no money, no support, no education, but they made it because they had heart. They believed through the tears, through the rejection, through the dark nights. They held on when others let go. That's what the emotional believer does. They turn pain into purpose. They take the hits and keep swinging. They don't avoid emotion, they harness it. You've got to stop running from what you feel. Embrace it. That sadness? It means you care. That fear? It means you're close to something important. That anger? It means you're ready for change. Every emotion is a message. The emotional believer listens to that message. They don't bury it. They build from it. They turn that emotion into motion. You can't wait until everything feels right. You have to move when it feels like everything is falling apart. That's when you find out who you really are. Let me tell you something. Belief without emotion is like a car without gas. It may look good, but it's going nowhere. But when you fill your belief with emotion, real, raw, unfiltered emotion, you become unstoppable. You become dangerous. You become the kind of person who can walk into a room and change the atmosphere. Because you believe, not with your mind alone, but with your whole soul. People will try to silence your emotions. They'll call you too sensitive, too dramatic, too intense. But you weren't born to be lukewarm. You weren't made to be average. You were made to feel deeply, to love boldly, to dream wildly. Don't let the world harden you. Stay soft. Stay open. Stay emotional. Because in that vulnerability is your strength. The emotional believer knows that tears aren't weakness. They are sacred. They are a sign that you're still alive, still dreaming, still fighting. So I ask you today, what do you feel? What dream still burns in your chest? What pain have you been running from? Don't numb it. Don't hide it. Use it. Let it be the fuel that drives you. Let it be the fire that refines you. You've got something inside you that the world needs. But you've got to believe it with everything in you. Not just your mind, but your heart, your soul, your emotions. That's what sets the emotional believer apart. This isn't about hype. It's about heart. It's about the courage to feel, to believe, to break, and to rebuild. The emotional believer doesn't pretend to be perfect. They dare to be real. They dare to show up with trembling hands and pounding hearts. They dare to keep going when their voice shakes. They dare to love again, dream again, try again. And that, my friends, is what makes them unstoppable. Now let's go deeper, because the emotional believer doesn't just feel, they transform. They take every wound, every heartbreak, every disappointment, and use it as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. You see, life will not spare you pain. Life will test you, shake you, break you, but it's not there to destroy you. It's there to awaken the warrior within. The emotional believer understands that their emotions are not enemies. They are teachers. That frustration you feel, it's a signal that you are made for more. That heartbreak, it's proof that you gave something your all. That anxiety in your chest, it means you care. You're alive. You're still in the game. Let me tell you something. There's a version of you that the world hasn't seen yet. And that version will only come forth when you stop suppressing what you feel and start expressing it with power. Cry if you need to. Scream if you have to. But don't you dare give up. Don't you dare let the fire go out. The emotional believer stumbles, but they rise. They fall, but they rise higher. They lose, but they learn. They take every emotional scar and wear it like armor. You've got to feel it to heal it, and you've got to believe through the pain, not just through the praise. Everybody wants to talk about the wins, the awards, the success stories. But the emotional believer knows that the real work happens in the silence. In the lonely nights when nobody's clapping, when nobody's liking your posts, when you're not trending, when your bank account doesn't reflect your vision. That's when you decide what kind of believer you are. Anybody can believe when the sun is shining, but the emotional believer praises in the storm. They worship in the dark. They declare greatness when all they see is defeat. They don't wait for motivation, they move with conviction. They understand that the emotions you feel aren't there to paralyze you. They're there to propel you. That sadness, it pushes you to search for meaning. That fear, it invites you to step into faith. That disappointment, it urges you to develop resilience. That anger, it fuels you to stand for something. The emotional believer doesn't bury their emotions, they elevate them. They turn tears into testimonies. They take every no and find the next. They find a lesson in the loss. They find strength in the struggle. You've got to stop apologizing for feeling deeply. That depth is your power. The world doesn't need more numb people. It needs people who feel, who care, who dream with everything they have. People who show up raw, real, and relentless. That's the emotional believer. They may not always be understood. They may not always be celebrated. But they are the ones who change lives, starting with their own. The emotional believer doesn't chase applause. They chase alignment. They ask, does this light my soul on fire? They don't make decisions based on fear. They move based on purpose. They feel the fear and do it anyway. And yes, they cry sometimes. Yes, they question themselves. Yes, they get discouraged. But they do not quit. They do not give up. They feel deeply, but they rise even deeper. Let me tell you, your emotions are not a liability. They are leverage. They are the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. The emotional believer knows that every great move begins with a deep feeling. Martin Luther King Jr. felt injustice and stood up. Mother Teresa felt compassion and reached out. Nelson Mandela felt oppression and fought back. Every movement, every mission, every miracle started with emotion. Don't let the world make you numb. Don't let disappointment shut your heart down. Stay open. Stay soft. Stay strong. When you're an emotional believer, you don't just recite affirmations, you embody them. You don't just read motivational quotes, you live them. You walk into rooms with unshakable energy. You speak with conviction. You lead with empathy. You love without fear. And you believe, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You know that belief is your oxygen. You know that quitting is not an option. You've cried too many tears, endured too much pain, and carried too many dreams to walk away now. And hear me when I say this. Your breakthrough won't come when you feel nothing. It will come when you feel everything and still take the next step. It will come when you allow yourself to feel the grief and still choose gratitude. When you feel the pressure and still choose purpose. When you feel the fear and still choose faith. That is the power of the emotional believer. They are not reckless with their emotions. They are refined by them. They allow their emotions to shape them, sharpen them, and stretch them. The emotional believer knows that real change doesn't come from logic alone. It comes when the heart and the mind align. When your soul says, I'm not backing down. When your spirit says, I've come too far. When your whole being says, this is my time. That's when miracles happen. That's when giants fall. That's when history is made. Not by the cold and calculated, but by the passionate and persistent. The ones who dared to feel. The ones who believed anyway. You, my friend, are that believer. And your emotion is not a weakness, it's your superpower. Let's bring this home. The emotional believer is not simply a dreamer, they are a doer. They don't just talk about vision, they walk in it, bleed for it, sacrifice for it. Because when you believe with emotion, you are no longer just interested, you are committed. You are sold out. You are willing to pay the price that others avoid. You are willing to endure the pain that most run from, because there is something inside you that refuses to settle. That's the fire. That's the difference maker. That's what separates those who try from those who triumph. And I know sometimes the emotions are heavy. Sometimes they make you feel like you can't breathe. You've carried disappointment like a shadow. You've smiled in public and cried in private. You've encouraged others while feeling empty yourself. That's the cost of caring deeply. But I want to tell you something loud and clear. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not a failure. You are human. You are powerful. You are chosen. You are rising. The emotional believer doesn't deny the burden. They acknowledge it. They lean into it. But they don't let it crush them. They rise with it on their shoulders. They walk forward carrying pain in one hand and purpose in the other. That's real strength. That's real courage. It's easy to keep going when you feel great. But the emotional believer presses on when they feel empty, when the tears won't stop, when the fear is louder than the faith. That's the fight. That's the battle. And that's where the greatness is forged. Don't listen to the voices that tell you to toughen up by shutting down. You don't have to harden your heart to succeed. You don't have to stop feeling to become strong. The world will try to numb you, but the emotional believer dares to stay awake. You feel the injustice, and you act. You feel the heartbreak, and you heal. You feel the pressure, and you persevere. You don't numb, you navigate. You don't ignore, you embrace. That's what makes your belief unshakable. It is alive. You see, the emotional believer doesn't just change their own life, they impact everyone around them. Your energy speaks before you even open your mouth. Your passion sparks something in others. Your story unlocks strength in people you may never meet. When you believe deeply, emotionally, authentically, your presence becomes powerful. You walk into rooms and lift the atmosphere. You speak, and people listen, not because you're the loudest, but because you're the most real. People don't follow perfection, they follow passion. They follow those who feel. The emotional believer leads with heart, with honesty, with humanity. They don't hide their scars, they share them. They say, I've been through it too, but I'm still here. And that message is the one that changes lives. Not some polished, robotic version of success, but the raw truth of the struggle and the rise. The tears, the setbacks, the quiet courage, it all matters. You were born to shake this world. You were not made to blend in. You were not designed to be numb. You were created to feel the fullness of life and to channel that emotion into something beautiful, into books, into businesses, into songs, into sermons, into healing, into hope. Your emotions are not distractions, they are direction. They point you to your purpose. They are signs that your soul is still alive and engaged in the battle. And yes, there will be days you feel too much. Days when the weight feels unbearable. But that's where the transformation happens. That's where you grow. Not by escaping it, but by enduring it. By facing it with faith. The emotional believer learns to sit with the pain until it passes and to rise again stronger than before. They don't hide from the storm, they become the storm. So I'm asking you right now, what have you buried? What emotion have you silenced? What dream have you labeled too much? Dig it up. Feel it. Face it. Fuel it. Let it drive you, not define you. Let it remind you of your why. Because when you truly believe emotionally, spiritually, fully, you unlock power that logic can't explain. You become a force of nature, a lighthouse in the darkness, a voice in the silence. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to stay connected to what's real for you. Because the emotional believer doesn't move for applause, they move from alignment. They don't follow trends, they follow truth. They don't live for likes, they live from love. That love fuels them when money runs low. That love keeps them building when no one else sees the vision. That love keeps them praying, working, trying, believing. That love makes them unbreakable. Listen to me. You are not too emotional. You are not too passionate. You are not too much. You are exactly what this world needs. You are light in the darkness. You are fire in a frozen world. You are thunder in a whispering crowd. Stand tall. Speak loud. Lie full. And believe with every fiber of your being that your life matters. That your dream is valid. That your voice is powerful. And that your emotions are a gift, not a curse. The emotional believer knows this. If you're going to fight, fight with feeling. If you're going to love, love with your whole heart. If you're going to believe, believe like your life depends on it, because it does. Your destiny is tied to your willingness to feel deeply and move boldly. That's how you win. That's how you rise. That's how you change everything. You've got what it takes. You always have. Now go show the world what an emotional believer looks like. Let them feel your fire. Let them hear your roar. Let them witness the rise of someone who didn't just believe with their mind, but with their heart, their soul, and their entire being. You're not done. You're just getting started. Keep going. Believe boldly. Feel fully. Live greatly.
Thank you for watching and spending this moment with me here on Voice of the Dreamer. If this message spoke to you, even just a little, don't keep it to yourself. Someone else needs to hear it too. Drop a comment below and let me know what part hit home for you. And if you're ready to walk boldly in your purpose and fuel your faith, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss a dose of inspiration. This is more than a channel. This is a movement for those who still believe. And I believe in you. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep rising, and remember, your voice matters. Let's go.